Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sharon Bonney. I'm the CEO for COABE, and I am delighted to welcome you to our summit today. We have just under 600 that have registered from across the nation for teachers and administrators starting out in the new school year. So we are very delighted to have you here today. We have a wonderful lineup of presenters, and we are going to start off first by welcoming Dr. Danielle Doyle with Essential Education, a proud sponsor, a wonderful partner in our efforts. So Danielle, if you'd share a few words.
Yes, first I want to say thank you to COABE for bringing us together today. We're truly honored to sponsor the First Year Advantage event, and we're incredibly proud of our long partnership with COABE and the work that they do to support adult educators across the country. Like Sharon said, I'm Danielle Doyle. I'm CEO and president of Essential Education, and supporting adult education is something that's very important to me. And as I was looking through today's agenda, I was thinking about how relevant the topics are for today and whether you're new to adult education or you're stepping into an administrative role or whatever you're taking on, maybe a new program. It got me thinking about how essential education could do more than just sponsor today's event. And what could we give you that would actually be useful for today? Because that's what's really important to us is making sure that you're successful. And at Essential Education, we have curriculum and technology for adult education, but our commitment is to this field. It goes far beyond our products, and we want to help strengthen adult education as a whole. And a big part of that is supporting the teachers and administrators who are doing the work every day. Over the years, we've worked with educators across the country on some of the biggest challenges facing adult education, things like student retention and engagement, meeting the needs of learners with very different backgrounds and abilities, differentiating instruction, and helping students with the digital skills that they need. And through that work, we've created several professional development guides, and we'd like to give everyone here today free access to all of them. We have a QR code and a link for you to access the digital versions of these, but if you'd like a printed version, just reach out to me separately. We'd be happy to send you printed versions for you or your program. And I'll just give a brief introduction to each one of these guides. We have the 6 anchors of student retention, and this came from a year-long PLC, a professional learning community of adult educators like you who studied the barriers that keeps adult learners from staying engaged and completing their programs. We also have the Overcoming Adult Learning Challenges guide that looks at the 4 areas that have a major impact in adult learners, like literacy difficulties, learning challenges, trauma, essential skills gaps. The 3D differentiated guide that provides practical strategies for planning and delivering instruction for classrooms where students may have different learning needs. And then we have the digital literacy implementation guide that's designed to help educators incorporate digital literacy into their everyday instruction. And there's a lot of information there. They're filled with strategies, activities, research, and ideas that you can use right away and implement right away in your classrooms. And we hope there's something in that collection that helps you with the work that you're doing this year. And so from all of us at Essential Education, thank you for being here. Thank you to COABE for giving us the opportunity to support this event and the people that are doing such amazing work across adult education. And I hope you guys have a great day with lots of learning and inspiration. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Danielle. We appreciate you. I have here a couple slides, and one of these I wanted to just say that we have our board president, Shiketa Thomason. So Shiketa, if you'd like to say a few words, and then I'll move over to the next speaker.
Well, thank you, Sharon. And I just also want to say a hearty thank you to Danielle and Essential Ed for being such great partners to COABE. And as Sharon said, my name is Shiketa Thomas, and I am the president of COABE. And on behalf of COABE, I'm just so happy to see so many people have joined on this morning. So we welcome all of our administrators, educators, the program leaders, and partners that are here with us today. Thank you for taking time to join this summit was created with you in mind, the professionals who work every day, opening doors, removing barriers, and creating new possibilities for adult learners and their families. So whether you are teaching in a classroom, leading a program, supporting your staff, or developing new ideas and solutions, your work does matter. And that's why this summit was created. We have a great group of outstanding speakers who are ready to share practical resources, effective tools, proven strategies, and just some nuggets of wisdom that's going to help make your classroom and program successful. So our hope is that you will leave with ideas you can implement immediately, make new connections. As I was trying to navigate, I see there's different chat rooms and lobbies that you can make connections in, and just have a renewed energy for the important work that you do. So I encourage you to be fully present throughout the day, ask questions, participate in discussions, and connect with your colleagues. And again, on behalf of COABE and the entire COABE board, I thank you for being here, and here's to a great day. Sharon?
Excellent. Thank you, Shiketa. And again, thank you, Dr. Danielle Doyle with Essential Education, who has made this possible. So, at the first year advantage, leading, equipping, and empowering from day one, I am delighted to welcome Kimberly Vitelli. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to read to you her bio so that you have a little bit of background knowledge on her and what she's engaged in here and the value that she's bringing to this session. So, we're very delighted that she is joining us today. Kim Vitelli is the administrator of the Office of Workforce Investments at Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration, where she oversees formula and competitive grant programs that help people find employment and advance in their careers. Her office is responsible for over 4.9 billion annually in grants that implement the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and multiple competitive programs such as Youth Build, Strengthening Community Colleges, and the Indian and Native American program. She is also responsible for the department's online career tools and ONET, the nation's primary source of no-cost, statistically reliable occupational information. Kim is a member of the Senior Executive Service and has served in career roles in 6 presidential administrations. She started her career as an economist at the Bureau of Labor Statistics and an IT systems administrator at the British Embassy in South Korea before joining ETA as a presidential management fellow. She has a BA in economics and international studies and a master's in public policy. She lives in Maryland, where she refrains from giving career advice to her 2 young adult sons. With that, we'd like to welcome Kimberly to the stage. Kimberly?
Thanks so much, Sharon, and thank you so much for having me. As Sharon said, I'm at the Employment and Training Administration at Labor. I work on a lot of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, Title I and III programs, along with many other programs. I've had the privilege of working with my colleagues in the Department of Education's Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education, including the wonderful LaToya Newson. For over 12 years, we're working with OCTAE as we worked together to align 4 titles of WIOA programs across 4 different administrations. We've tried to align our regulations, our performance accountability, and help people find and use our programs as they climb the rungs of the labor market. Many of the people that you reach in your classroom are also looking for a job or looking for a better job, which the programs that my agency runs are designed to do and can help them do, whether that's taking place inside an American Job Center or in another physical or virtual location. Sometimes adult education and DOL run programs, sometimes we have shared customers who are literally getting services from both of our programs at the same time. Other times people move through our programs respectively, but at different stages of their life. My agency and my colleagues at OCTAE try hard to make sure that our policies help people navigate these programs, find the programs, benefit from the programs, and that states and localities can efficiently administer all of these programs. If this is new and if this is a new career for you, we'll have to meet up in a year so you can tell me how we're doing at that kind of coordination. I'm largely in DC working on policy, and you're interacting directly with learners and workers. So it is a true honor to be here with you, you who offer adults a new chapter in their lives by sharpening their basic skills, because after that, they can engage more fully in civic life and in their children's and grandchildren's school lives. And most significantly, you open up so many employment opportunities for adults. You already know that, right? You're part of this great army of hope, this collection of folks that are trying to make stuff work for the average everyday American. We're trying to help the person sitting in front of them get a better job, the people who make the extra phone call, who stay late, who print out the extra copies, who tells your student or your customer that they're going to be all right, that they're going to make it, there's better things ahead, they deserve to live better lives, that they can make that happen, and that you are going to walk with them as they make that better life happen. So thank you in advance for your what I hope are long careers in adult education and upskilling Americans, which is also a career in economic mobility. Along the way, I hope you get to encounter your partners over in other parts of the public workforce and education system, like staff at American Job Centers, who are usually funded by some of our grants, WIOA Title I or III grants. I encourage you to learn about the services available in your closest American Job Center. Maybe you've already discovered one or been in one, so that you can help your students know about the many different services that can help them find a job or find a better job. The services do vary from place to place. They're not identical. That's sort of built into how the statute is written. But at all of them, there's staff present to help people explore careers, to help polish up a resume, and to help with job searching, and to help people find your programs as well, to help people find adult education and build up their basic skills. There's also help in finding and paying for occupational training. And of course, as you probably know, the kinds of training that someone can enter really multiply as people acquire basic skills and move up in their skills mastery. There are some local areas that also do a really nice job of weaving together basic skills and occupational skills into one learning experience, what our statute calls integrated education and training. And if there's not enough of the kinds of options like that in your community, you might be the person that starts one. The evidence shows that that combination of basic skills and occupational training can help someone retain skills better, which improves their employment outcomes. The American Job Center staff or your state's labor market information shop can also provide you as educators with useful information about what jobs are growing and in demand for your use as context in your classroom and in your interaction with your job-seeking students. This kind of labor market information is also online. You don't have to go just to an American Job Center to get it. The DOL tool, www.mynextmove.org, is a career exploration tool powered by ONET, the Occupational Information Network, and it lets job seekers explore different jobs, find out what skills are needed in that job, what credentials, what level of education are typical for workers in that occupation. One of my just favorite connection points between adult education and the rest of the WIOA family is this kind of career exploration and opening up new paths for folks as they look for better jobs and for more income. We at ETA are big fans of Octay's talent marketplace work that they've been really investing in lately, their grant challenge to build learning and employment records. So it's a really exciting time for our agencies to be working together. These kinds of career exploration tools and just the infrastructure for people to demonstrate their skills are just a few of the touch points between our agencies, between Department of Labor and Employment and Training Administration and Octay. Our programs are often run out of the same state agency at the state level. We're both measured by skills gain and by employment outcomes. Both of our partners, our programs partner with community colleges for further skills acquisition and industry recognized credentials. So I say that to say that the places where you work and the place where I work intersect a lot. So I'm so grateful to COABE for inviting me here to spend a little bit of time with you. I hope our paths cross more in the future, and thank you for your service to America's learners and workers, and have a great conference today.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. We appreciate that. And I have to say, you don't look like you have two young sons that you're giving advice around careers. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate all of that. And we have long enjoyed a relationship with the government. And you will see this next speaker that we have, Dr. LaToya Newson. She is the former director of the U.S. Department of Education's Division of Adult and Education Literacy in Octay. In her role as a national director, she oversaw the office, which funds nearly $800 million in state and local grant programs to enable adults to improve their literacy and basic skills, complete high school equivalency education, transition to post-secondary education, and succeed as workers, parents, and citizens. She is recognized expert in the field of adult education as an innovative thinker interested in promoting lifelong learning and improving federal support and initiatives for adult learners. LaToya's passion for education is rooted in her core values of advocacy, relationship and partnership building, and being purposeful driven. I want to also say Dr. Newson was one of our first state advocate fellows before she joined Department of Education, and what a great job she did there. So we're really grateful to have her here today. And so Dr. Newson, we did this a little different than some of the other sessions in that you'll be speaking to both administrators and teachers, as you know, and sharing about Wioa. So I will turn this over to you, and we'll be here in the background. Thank you so much for speaking for us today.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Sharon, and all of the COABE amazing staff. Shaketta, it was great to see Kimberly, and Lindsay's been amazing as a resource to help get this started today. So I am going to get my screen set up and share my slides. I'm really excited for this. So if I can have someone to confirm that you can see the slides.
We can.
Perfect. All right, awesome. So I have the opportunity to really give you a Wioa boot camp, Wioa 101. This is your introduction for some of you to the Innovation and Opportunity Act. And in this presentation, we are going to cover the following. We're really going to look at this roadmap of how Wioa works together. So we're going to look at the big picture, how the four titles fit together, how do these six programs operate under these four titles. We're going to have an opportunity to then do a deep dive into the Adult Education and Family Literacy Act program. We're going to look at the data behind the work and why does that matter? And then we're going to look at where things stand now, some of the recent things that are happening in the field, and what does that mean for you as an administrator and a classroom teacher, right? So, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, what we affectionately call WIOA, is the federal act or federal law that helps people prepare for, find, and keep jobs by funding workforce development, adult education, and training programs. It replaced the Workforce Investment Act of 1998 and is the primary law governing the public workforce development system. The enactment of WIOA by a bipartisan majorities in Congress revitalized and transformed the public workforce system so that it reflects the realities of the 21st century economy and meets the needs of job seekers, workers, and employers. There are several goals of WIOA. The first one is to help job seekers gain the skills needed for in-demand careers. We want to connect employers with qualified workers. We want to help improve the coordination among employment, education, and vocational rehabilitation programs. And then we want to increase employment and earnings, particularly for people facing significant barriers to employment. Now, as we dive in, I want you to think about a student. The student's name is Maria. Maria has limited English language skills. She works a low-wage job. She's currently struggling to help her children complete their homework. And she rarely goes to any medical appointments because she can't understand everything the doctors and the nurses are saying. Now, Maria has this friend who started attending adult education classes 6 months ago at her local American Job Center. This friend has now received a promotion, and Maria is asking her what was the secret to her success? How did she advance? And her friend told her about WIOA. The way WIOA is written, it's a no wrong door system. And the purpose of WIOA, according to the language of the current law, is to increase for individuals in the United States, particularly those individuals with barriers to employment, their access to and opportunities for employment, education, training, and support services that they need to succeed in the labor market. It's also purposed to support the alignment of workforce investment, education, and economic development systems in support of the comprehensive, accessible, and high quality workforce development system in the United States. It's designed to improve the quality and labor market relevance of workforce investments, education, and economic development efforts for American workers with the skills and credentials necessary to secure and advance in employment with family-sustaining wages and to provide Americans employers with the skills workers and employers they need to be successful in the global economy. It's also designed to promote improvement in the structure of and delivery of services through the United States workforce development system to better address the employment and skills needed of workers, job seekers, and employers. It's purposed to increase the prosperity of workers and employers in the U.S. and the economic growth of communities, regions, and states, and the global competitiveness of the U.S. It's also designed to provide workforce investment activities through statewide and local workforce development systems that increase the employment, retention, and earnings of participants, and increase attainment of recognized post-secondary credentials by participants. As a result, improve the quality of the workforce, reduce welfare dependency, increase our economic self-sufficiency, meet the skill requirements of employers, and enhance the productivity and competitiveness of this nation. So WIOA requires that states strategically align their core workforce development programs to coordinate the needs of both job seekers and employers through combined 4-year state plans with greater flexibility than that of WIA. Additionally, WIOA promotes accountability and transparency through negotiated performance goals that are publicly available. They foster regional collaboration within states and local workforce areas and improves the American Job Center system. The 6 core programs that form the foundation of the nation's workforce development systems are administered across 4 WIOA titles at both the U.S. Department of Labor and the U.S. Department of Education. So now we're going to take time to look at these 4 title programs. Now, within those 4 title programs, there are 6 core programs. In Title I, you have the adult program. The adult program is here to help adults attain employment, improve skills, and advance their careers. Title I also has the dislocated worker program. This is designed to help workers who have lost their jobs because of layoffs, business closures, or economic changes return to employment. And then also under the Title I program, you have the youth program. It helps eligible young people ages 14 to 24 overcome barriers to education and employment and helps them prepare for careers. Then we move to Title II. Title II is the Adult Education and Family Literacy Act program. This is us. This is our bread and butter. It helps adults ages 16 and older improve literacy, numeracy, English language skills, and to obtain secondary credentials and transition to employment or post-secondary education or training. And then you have Title III, which is the Wagner-Pizer Employment Services. It connects job seekers with employers and provides employment-related services, including labor market information, job referrals, and career services. And then we have the Title IV program, which is the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, or VR. It helps individuals with disabilities prepare for, obtain, retain, and advance in competitive integrated employment. The real key is to understand that these programs are designed to work together. A person may enter the workforce system through one program and receive services from several programs, depending on their needs. Now, let's look a little bit into the Title I program. So the Title I program is the largest title program and funds the job training side of the workforce system. Basically, Title I programs are a part of WIOA that help people get jobs. Title I provides funding and services that help people explore career options, receive career counseling, develop an employment plan, enroll in occupational skills training, earn industry recognized credentials, find employment, and access supportive services such as childcare and transportation when available. There are different programs that exist under Title I according to WIOA, and these programs are, we've already talked about the Adult and Dislocated Worker Program. Then you have the Indian and Native American Program, which provides employment and training services to tribes, tribal organizations, Alaskan Native entities, Indian-controlled organizations, and Native Hawaiian organizations servicing unemployed and low-income Native Americans, Native Alaskans, and Native Hawaiians. You have the Job Corps program, which provides eligible young people ages 16 to 24 with intensive education, career and technical training, supportive services, and residential opportunities to prepare for successful careers. You have the National Dislocator Worker Grant, which provides temporary federal funding to states and other eligible entities to respond to major layoffs, plant closures, disasters, and other significant workforce disruptions. You also have the National Farm Worker Job Program, which provides employment and training services to eligible migrant and seasonal farm workers and their dependents to help improve their economic opportunities and employment outcomes. One of my favorites, you have the Reentry Employment Opportunity Program, or RIO. And it supports programs that help justice involved individuals and other individuals facing significant barriers to employment prepare for and obtain and retain meaningful employment under Section 169 of Wioa. We've already talked about, you have the Wagner-Pizer Employment Services Program. You also have the Wioa Youth Program, and you have Youth Bill, which is a community-based pre-apprenticeship program that provides job training and educational services for opportunity youth ages 16 to 24 who have left school without a secondary diploma. Title I serves three primary groups. You have your adults, your dislocated workers, and your youth. The analogy I love to use to describe this is that Title II program builds the foundations by teaching the literacy, numeracy, English language skills, digital literacy skills, and workforce readiness. Then Title I builds the second half of the bridge by providing career services, job training, and employment assistance. Together, they help individuals cross into meaningful employment. And I want to make sure that I'm not missing any of the chat. I can't see if some of it comes up. So, Lindsay, if you see something come up, just please let me know. Based on, if we look at our bread and butter, this is where we lie, right? The Title II Adult Education and Family Literacy Act program. So, based on the purpose of the law, AEFLA, or our program, the Adult Education and Family Literacy Program, was created as the educational tier of Wioa. Its purpose is to help adults gain the knowledge and skills needed to be successful workers, family members, and members of their communities. Many people think AE is only about helping someone earn a high school diploma or learn English. And we know that that's not just the case. We're more than that. While these ideals are important, the law describes a much broader mission that I will explain in greater detail. Now, as a new teacher or administrator, your job isn't just to simply teach reading, math, or English. Your job is to help adults build the skills they need to improve their lives. You are an example of hope, access, and opportunity. Every lesson should move learners toward one or more of these outcomes, which is better employment opportunities, post-secondary education or training, greater economic independence, stronger family and community engagement, and increased confidence navigating everyday life. Now, I believe Title II is the foundation of the workforce system. And yes, I will admit it, I am biased. Literacy is the foundation. Numeracy is the framework. English language skills are the doors that open opportunities. Digital literacy and workforce preparation are the utilities that make the house functional. Career pathways are the roads leading out to employment and further education. And without a strong foundation, the rest of the workforce system cannot do its job. Now we'll look into Title III of the program. So the Title III Wagner-Pizer program is designed to provide broad access to employment services. Unlike some Title I programs, a person generally does not have to meet income or other eligibility requirements to access these basic employment services. So Title III is responsible for helping job seekers find job openings, search for employment opportunities, develop resumes, prepare for interviews, receive career guidance, learn about local labor market opportunities, get connected to employers, and to learn about training and other workforce programs. Title III also helps employers. They help them recruit workers, post job openings, find qualified candidates, access labor market information as well. Now, Title IV, or the Voc Rehab Program, supports individuals with disabilities and helps them prepare for, obtain, maintain, and advance in competitive integrated employment. The goal is not to simply provide services because someone has a disability. The goal is to help an individual achieve meaningful employment and greater independence. VR is a portion of the workforce system that specializes in support for individuals with disabilities. It helps remove disability related barriers so individuals can prepare for and succeed in meaningful employment. So the biggest takeaway is to know you don't have to do everything yourself as a Title I administrator or instructor. Your role is to help students build their skills and then connect them to the right workforce partner. A strong AE program understands the broader Wioa system and knows when to connect a student to its partners. Now, there's also a Title V provision that we don't talk about a lot, but I wanted to make you aware of this. So, the Title V portion of WIO is built differently than the other four titles. The easiest way to explain it is that Title IV is the accountability and general provisions title, not a program funded title. It contains the overarching rules and administrative provisions that apply across WIOA rather than establishing a standalone workforce program. So it addresses unified and combined state plans, performance accountability and reporting, administrative provisions, funding and authorization provisions, requirements related to federal assistance, the non-discrimination and equal opportunity statements, fiscal and administrative responsibilities, and WIOA implementation and coordination. All right, now it's time to dive into us, AEFLA. What is AEFLA? This is where the bread and butter of adult education program lies. And if you really want to know and have a great time to read, go to page 185 of the law. Here is where we learn the purpose of the adult education program, which is to assist adults to become literate and obtain the knowledge and skills necessary for employment and economic self-sufficiency, to assist adults who are parents or family members to obtain the education and skills that are necessary to become full partners in the education development of their children and to lead to sustainable improvements in the economic opportunities for their families. We're also purposed to assist adults in obtaining a secondary school diploma and in the transition to post-secondary education and training through career pathways, and to assist immigrants and other individuals who are English language learners in improving their reading, writing, speaking, and comprehension skills in English and their math skills, and acquiring an understanding of the American system of government, individual freedoms, and the responsibilities of citizenship. Section 203 of AEFLA explains who's eligible to receive adult education services. The law states the following. So the term eligible individual means an individual who has attained 16 years of age, who is not enrolled or required to be enrolled in secondary school, in a secondary school under state law, and who is basic skills deficient, who does not have a secondary school diploma or its recognized equivalent, and has not achieved an equivalent level of education, or an individual who's an English language learner. If any individual that falls into any one of those categories will be eligible to receive adult education services. So here are some key terms and definitions that are found in Section 203. So for relevance, I'm going to read some that may not be on the screen that you may be interested in. So we have the terms such as eligible provider, who can give adult education services. This means an organization that has demonstrated effectiveness in providing adult education and literacy activities that may include a local educational agency or LEA, that's your K-12 school districts, a community-based organization or faith-based organization, a volunteer literacy organization, an institute of higher education, a public or private nonprofit agency, a library, a public housing authority, a nonprofit institution that is not described beforehand and has the ability to provide adult education and literacy activities to eligible individuals. It can be a consortium or coalition of agencies, organizations, or institutions that are aforementioned, or a partnership between an employer and any of the aforementioned institutions or agencies. Together, sections 202 and 203 reinforce that adult education is not simply about teaching academic subjects, it's about connecting learning to real life goals of adult learners, which include employment, post secondary education, family responsibilities, English proficiency, and community participation. That is why Wioa Title II programs are expected to operate as part of the broader workforce development system rather than an isolated academic program. Now, a simple way to understand Title II of Wioa is to see it as a four-level structure. You have your federal, state, local, and general provisions. Each level answers different questions about how adult education is funded, administered, and delivered. So, under the federal provisions, these are found in sections 201 to 213. And I want to talk about a little bit specifically or bring to your attention that section 212 sets the performance accountability system for adult education, which is tied directly to sections 116. This explains how the federal government authorizes, funds, and oversees the AEFLA program. The federal provisions establish the national framework for AEFLA. The federal government is essentially saying, here is why adult education is important. Here's what we mean by adult education. Here is the funding we are providing, and here are the outcomes we are expecting the system to achieve. This level establishes the why and the rules of the road for adult education programs. Now, your state provisions are found in sections 221 to 243, and it explains how states will plan, administer, fund, and manage adult education. The state provisions explain how states take the federal framework and build an adult education system within their state. This is where state plans are drafted, how federal funds will be used, the determination and conducting statewide competitions for AEFLA funds, how to align AE with the broader workforce development system, and the coordination of workforce partners. We're ensuring that programs meet federal and state requirements, specifically through monitoring our local programs. The state is essentially saying, here's how we will implement the federal AE requirements in our state, how we will distribute the resources, and how we will ensure that local programs are providing quality services. This is where many of the policies that directly affect your classroom will come from, like your state assessments, your enrollment policies, your professional development, your data reporting requirements, and your program requirements, and local provider expectations. Your local provisions are found in sections 231 to 233 and explain how local adult ed providers compete for funds and deliver services. These provisions focus on how eligible providers receive funding and deliver services to adult learners. So under Section 231, states conduct competitive grant process to award our AEFLA funds to eligible providers. The local providers develop applications describing how they will provide services that align with federal and state requirements. So local programs may provide services such as adult basic education, adult secondary education, high school equivalency preparation, English language acquisition, integrated English literacy and civics education, a family literacy program, workforce preparation, and integrated education and training. Local providers are essentially saying, here's how we will use the resources we receive to serve adult learners, meet their needs, connect them to employment and education, and achieve the outcomes required by Wioa. This is the level that closest impacts your daily work. It determines who you serve, what services you provide, how instruction is delivered, how you will collaborate with your workforce partners, and how student outcomes are documented. The general provisions are found in sections 241 to 243 and explain what requirements apply across the Title II system. The general provisions address requirements that help ensure that Title II system operates effectively and consistently. These provisions address areas such as the administrative responsibilities, professional development and technical assistance, state leadership activities, national leadership activities, performance accountability, and coordination and support for the adult education system. These provisions reinforce the idea that AE is not just a collection of individual classrooms. It is a system that requires qualified teachers, strong instructional practices, data and accountability, professional development, technical assistance, continuous improvement, and coordination with workforce and community partners. The general provisions are essentially saying, here are the system-wide supports and requirements that help adult education programs operate effectively and continuously improve. Now, Section 231, which is your grants and contracts for eligible providers, I want you to think about it as who can provide the services and how do they get funding. States use competitive application processes to award federal adult education funds to eligible providers. Providers must demonstrate their ability to effectively serve adult learners and meet the requirements of Title II. Funded programs are expected to provide services to help adults improve their literacy and numeracy skills, obtain high school equivalency diplomas or credentials, learn English, transition to post-secondary education or training, obtain and advance their employment, develop workforce and employability skills, and to participate in integrated education and training when appropriate. Section 232 is how the state funds, the state distribution of funds. So I want you to think about this as how does the state distribute the money they receive? This section addresses how states distribute their federal AEFLA funds to support adult education programs and services. The funding structure ensures the resources are available to carry out both state leadership activities and local program services. The state must balance their investment in the state leadership activities, which are your professional development, your technical assistance, and your system improvements, and local programs. These are the support services that go directly to your adult learners. Your Section 233, which is your administrative cost limits and your carryover reallotments. Now, these are two things that fall under this. These ensure that most federal adult education funding is used directly to support the learners and your program services. So generally, local programs are limited to 5% of their grant for administrative costs, although a higher amount can be permitted when the program can demonstrate that it is necessary for proper administration. So think about how much funding can be used to actually run the program. Local programs can also use no more than 5% of their grant for administrative costs. A higher percentage may be allowed if they demonstrate that the need is there. The goal is to ensure that a majority of the funds support direct program activities for our adult learners. So I want you to think about also under this section, what happens when the money isn't spent. This section addresses what will happen if a program does not use all of its federal funds in the required time frame. So rather than allowing the funds to sit unused, the law provides mechanisms for reallocating the funds so that available resources can continue supporting adult education services. So the biggest takeaway that I want you to think about under Section 233 is that it helps ensure that federal adult education funds are used to serve learners and that unused funds can be redirected rather than unnecessarily going to waste. So together, sections 231 through 233 create the funding pathway that moves federal adult education resources toward the local programs and ultimately to services that support our adult learners. Now, when states are awarded AEFLA grants, it is not simply asking, can this organization teach adults? The state is asking, can this organization effectively serve the needs of our community, provide high quality instruction, connect learners to employment and further education, remove barriers to participation, and contribute to the larger workforce development system? So there are 13 considerations that are found. And I know there's a handout that's available to you that goes into detail for all of those 13 considerations. But a simple way to remember the 13 considerations are that they essentially evaluate a local provider in 5 broad areas. Number 1 is performance. Have you been effective in the past? Number 2 is quality. Will you provide high quality, accessible instruction? Number 3 is alignment. Do you align with your state, local, and workforce priorities? Access and support. Can you meet the diverse needs and barriers of adult learners? And number 5, transition and partnership. Can you help learners move to employment, post-secondary education, and training through strong partnerships? Now, AEFLA is one of the 6 core programs, we've talked about that is subject to the accountability system. The goal is not simply to count how many students enroll and how many hours they attend. The system looks at whether participants are making progress toward employment, education, credential attainment, skills, and other positive outcomes. So now we're going to kind of dive into section 116 of that performance accountability system. Now, the biggest thing I love to explain is that when individuals come into an adult education program, they fall into 2 primary categories. And these 2 primary categories are what helps the reporting for the Wioa programs. So if an individual receives 12 or more hours of service, they are counted as participants, or they're called participants, and they are counted in all Section 116 performance measures. A reportable individual is someone that receives less than 12 hours of service, and they are not included in our performance calculation. So for you that is a classroom teacher, this is why your bookkeeping or making sure you're logging attendance hours is so important. This is what's going to determine whether students are counted in your workforce performance outcomes. Now, the 6 primary indicators for performance, you will find those for AEFLA under Section 116, and these include the following. You have your employment rate second quarter after exit, basically asking, are participants employed after leaving a program? Participants, 12 hours or more. Are participants employed after leaving the program? Then you have employment rate fourth quarter after exit. Are participants still employed after leaving the program? You have median earnings second quarter after exit. How much are participants earning in the second quarter after they leave your program? Credential attainment. Are participants earning a recognized post-secondary credential or secondary credential when applicable? Measurable skills gains, MSGs. Are participants making measurable academic or educational progress while participating in your program? And then your effectiveness in serving employers. How effective is the workforce system meeting the needs of employers? So MSG, I love this part, our bread and butter. Measurable skills gain is the documented evidence that a student has made meaningful progress in their educational or workforce related skills while participating in the adult ed program. MSG is not necessarily the student completing an entire program or earning a credential. It is evidence that the student has made meaningful progress toward their goal during the program year. Now, for AEFLA, MSGs can include such things as advancing to a higher educational functioning level, or EFL, based on an approved pre- and post-testing cycle, making progress through an adult education program curriculum that meets the applicable requirements of documenting progress, passing a secondary education program exam or advancing in a secondary education program, and making progress in an IET program, such as completing required milestones or gaining occupational skills when the applicable criteria is met. So, as a new teacher, you should understand that good instruction and good documentation go hand in hand. Your role is to know where your students are, understanding their initial level through the appropriate assessments, know where they're going, understand your students' educational, career, or personal goals, and then provide targeting instruction, teaching them the skills the students need to make progress. You need to assess their progress. Use the appropriate and approved assessment tools to measure that progress, and then document the gains. Make sure that every student's progress is accurately recorded in your state's program system or your data system. Okay? So, why does this matter for your classroom? I really cannot over express or stress the importance of good documentation. This is one thing that is evidence that when we're making our reports to Congress to say that not only are we receiving the funds, but we're making the measurable outcomes that have been negotiated and required to show success. Now, as a former federal employee at the Division of Adult Education Literacy, this data is paramount. Paramount. We use this data to make the reports to Congress to show, are we being successful in the things that the law are requiring us to achieve? So I cannot overly express. Make sure that you're testing on schedule. Make sure that you're recording attendance accurately. Know your educational functioning levels and understanding the concept of exits. Okay. So why should adult educations care about Section 116, this performance accountability? This is the justification for our funding. This is also important for our state reporting, our annual reports. You submit those annual reports to the department or the Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education, specifically in the Division of Adult Education and Literacy. We use these reports to draft our reports to Congress. And this shows equal accountability. The Title II outcomes are compared on the same scale as the job training, employment services, and vocational rehabilitation programs. So it's not a lower adult education only bar. We're at an equal bar to our Wioa partners. Okay, so any questions you may have about specific tests, EFL cutoff scores, or reporting deadline, make sure you're talking to your program directors or to your state office. They will have all of that information for you. All right. So some recent developments that are affecting the field. One thing that's really high, and I know COABE is on top of this, and anyone that's in this space, we're really paying attention to WIOA reauthorization. We know that the House has passed a Stronger Workforce for an American Act of 2026 along party lines, and this would move adult education from the U.S. Department of Education to the Department of Labor. And right now, it has not been passed. It's still sitting in the Senate. Agencies, some of these are already in motion. Where right now, the AEFLA office and the grant administration has begun to shift some of that administration over to the Department of Labor. So we saw some of these changes, even though the budget year was a little bit wonky this year. Some of the shutdowns have affected things, and these are things that we've seen in the past, right? But you, as a new teacher, this may be like, oh my goodness, how is this going to impact me? So this prolonged government shutdown and a string of resolutions disrupted the initial cycle for fiscal year 26, but ultimately the program was funded. So the biggest thing, just stay aware of it. None of these changes of what has happened in your classroom, it won't change what happens in terms of what happens in your classroom. But know that these policy conversations, you need to know where they stand. Make sure you're following information that's being shared by your partners at COABE, making sure that you understand that information and stay aware so we'll know what's happening in the future. So, although there may be uncertainty, you as an instructor, you still have the responsibility to provide high quality instruction to your learners. Our learners are depending on us. When we don't know what the future holds for adult education, it feels kind of natural to be concerned about your program, your job, and the learners we serve. But I want to encourage you to remember this. The uncertainty surrounding the system does not diminish the importance of the work that you're doing. Your classroom may be the place where a learner discovers, perhaps for the first time, what they're actually capable of doing more than what they thought they could. Your encouragement may be what keeps a student from giving up. Your instruction may be the bridge that connects someone from where they are today to a credential or a career or a post-secondary education or an economic opportunity tomorrow. So, in this season of uncertainty, stay steadfast in the things that you can control. Keep the door open. Adult ed is often the front door for the workforce development system for individuals who have been disconnected from education and employment opportunities. Keep teaching with excellence. Regardless of what happens at the policy level, learners deserve high quality instruction every single day. Keep believing in your learners. Sometimes your belief in your students' potential comes before they're even able to see it in themselves. Keep connecting. Build the relationships with your workforce partners, your employers, community organizations, and post secondary institutions so your learners have a pathway beyond your classroom. Keep documenting progress. Every measurable skill gain represents a learner moving forward and provides evidence of the impact of your work. Keep showing up. Consistency matters, especially to adults whose lives may already be filled with instability and competing demands. The work of adult education has always required resiliency. The learners we serve are resilient, and those of us who serve them must be resilient as well. The future may be uncertain, but the mission is not. Our mission is to help adults build the skills, confidence, and connections they need to move forward. We cannot control every decision that's made at the federal, state, or local level, but what we can control is the quality of instruction we provide, the relationships we build, the doors we keep open, and the way we show up for our learners. So remain steadfast. Keep your doors open. Keep teaching. Keep connecting. Keep believing, because on the other side of your classroom door is someone who is counting on you to help them take the steps they need to move forward. So the system may be navigating uncertainty, but our learners still have goals they need to achieve. So you're not just teaching subjects, you're changing life trajectories. Every lesson in reading, math, English, workforce prep, or digital literacy should help an adult move one step closer to meaningful employment, continued education, economic self-sufficiency, and full participation in community and family life. So I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to present this information. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something that you didn't know before. And I thank you so much, Sharon and COABE, for this wonderful opportunity. If you would love to connect with me even further, please scan that QR code, follow me, and you can send me an email at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, LaToya. So appreciate you, and I can see why you're beloved when you're in your role at Department of Ed. So thank you for sharing not just about Wioa, but also encouragement and support for new teachers and new administrators and all of those who are navigating changes in our field. LaToya ended right on time because now we have a 10-minute break. But before we go anywhere, I want to share very quickly some slides here and just to mention to you that the way we have broken this down is that we have two tracks. One is for administrators, and that's going to be led by Kristen Hempel on our board, and the other is from Marcia, and she will be leading the instructors. So when you go back out into the lobby, you'll be able to pick the sessions that you want to go to, and I just really want to encourage you to do that. As I mentioned, we have over 600 people that did register for this, and so we know that they'll be divided up along throughout the day. Check back on our website because you're going to see that on our website, I'm just going to pull the website up real quick here. It really does clearly show you what our schedule looks like throughout the day, including the lunch times and breaks and things like this that we have provided. Special thanks to Lindsay for preparing the schedule and to James for creating the web page. But you'll see here that right on this page here, you can click in and you can see what will be taking place throughout the day. So we're on break now, and then you have the administrator's session presented by Kim Glenn, and the instructor's session that's presented by Sarah Goldhammer. So I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to head out and check out the sessions you're going to be attending. And thank you again, LaToya, for the wonderful session that you delivered. And we will see you all in the next session. Bye now.